Okay, so I want to start this video with a simple question, right? Which you should ask yourself and think about it very deeply, right? Why do you believe Gen Zs are obsessed with locking in, right? You have heard all of those people on internet, yo, I'm gonna lock in the 5 hours of work right now, I'm going to lock in the entire month, let's get to grinding, let's go, we're just gonna crush this. And why do you think these slangs, these motivations, these absolute disciplines backed by coffee is on the hype right now, and it is on the rise as compared to any other time in the entire century, in the entire world, right? If we see like 1990s, 1980s, 1950s, 60, right? People didn't really talk much about locking in, right? And by locking in, I really refer to a broader term of getting to work and just keep on grinding, and rather than just embracing your family gatherings and other social life. Why do you think right now people are absolute, you know, kind of some millennials might call crazy, and they're just completely logged in, right? Because those people, according to the millennials, they don't spend time with family, they don't get adequate sleep, they don't have social life, they cannot get a second out of their phone, and they're completely delusioned by the social media and they believe their brain is officially rotted in their own slangs, right? So this was the entire question part. I know the question part took roughly about 2 minutes, but now I believe like till now you have thought about it. But now let me just enclose, right, the topic of the question, and let me just reveal the answer to it. Because talking as the perspective of a Gen Z, because we have to, right? The system is crashing on us, everything is falling apart. The old economic system that was built in 1980s, 1800s by those old, right, old professors, old great men, like it completely doesn't work. The structure which was created by the rich caste in 1800s, 1900s is becoming so brutal in today's generation, in today's world, that it will absolutely not spare any single one. It will not spare any person escaping its trap, right? And it is extremely important for us to grind. This is the only option we have. Because let me just take a normal comparison. Because the thing is, if you are in like a second world or first world country, you already have a specific advantage. For example, if we see like escaping the matrix, you might heard a good slang, right, backed by coal sellers. And I do not want to like talk much about coal sellers in here, but their ideology at least was to some extent right. For example, you have to escape the matrix, and and where was I was just talking about, like for example, you are in first world or second world countries, you already have an advantage over the people who are in the third world countries. For example, if we see, you have to escape different bubbles or different spheres of the life. If we see about a general like Venn diagram in here, for example, the people living in third world countries are in this enclosed bubble, enclosed circle, which is really in the center of the entire thing which we are talking about. And then the circle which comes above it is the one for the people who are living in second world countries. And then finally the bigger circle, right, the bigger circle comes for the people who are living in first world countries, right? So the people who are living in third world countries like India, they actually have to escape not one, not two, but three bubbles in order for them to succeed. Now you might say that you are very old fashioned, you are also outdated being a Gen Z. Why are you terming India as third world country? Why are you saying it tier 2 country, right? I believe I get your point, but you also need to understand that this is the matrix that we actually use in handling real monetary terms. real monetary actions we use it, right? For example, I don't know if you have heard about clipping or not. Like there's an entire business market of people when you like clip their clips and you post. If you get tier 3 audience, tier 3 views, you get paid less. If you get tier 2 views, which is of Europe, you get paid higher. And finally, if you reach tier 1 views, tier 1 American views audience, you get paid the most. So you see the hierarchy in this, right? And these lines to tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 countries were actually used in World War 1, World War 2 for the people to classify their countries, right? Different countries. Although today this rank is completely outdated, and I believe so, but you also need to see the other side of the coin, that like actually this rank like tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 is more elevated, more popularized in the recent coming years by clipping, by online businesses that actually categorize different countries into different specific tiers for them to pay, right? And this also shows the PPP, that is purchase power parity, between different countries, right? Indian audience, tier 3 audience has lowest probability for them to spend on online stuff, whereas the people who are in tier 1 country have the highest chances, highest probability that they will actually spend and convert as a monetary client. And only because of this specific fact, the entire tier system was recreated in today's world, although it had to become completely obsolete, right? So instead of becoming obsolete, it actually became more popularized, which we actually hate to talk about, but we have to, right? Because this is the reality. You cannot escape from the reality, man. This is the truth of the life, right? So again, this is the only choice that we have, that you need to lock in. And another good example that I can give is that, for example, if you see the wages, right? For example, if wages as compared to the millennials when it was their peak time, when they were at their 20s, 25s, right? The average salary, for example, let's just take a normal variable, it was 1 unit, 1x, right? And the amount, like the wages increased, might be 2x, might be 3x, at most might be 3.5, 4x, right? The wages have double, triple, I guess, for our respective chart, it might be become like 4 times at most, right? But whereas if you see property prices, right, if you see inflation, if you see normal goods and commodities, if you see car prices, if you see, for example, if you want to buy petroleum, you want to own a land, you want to run a factory, right, the ROI has also decreased. But if you see the property prices, they have not quadrupled but become more than 5, 8, 10 times, right? So the thing is, I like even heard my elders, they bought a property back then which they sold just for 80,000 rupees, 80,000 rupees when it was their peak time, and now you cannot get absolute crap for 80,000, right? So this is the thing. And if you cannot get crap in today's world of 80,000, 80,000 is almost the higher end of the salaries in today's generation, right? So you believe that it is extremely hard for a Gen Z who is also at point zero and he wants to build his own empire from absolute scratch till the top. So if the specific person, not talking about Gen Z, not talking about millennials, just a normal specific human, if he was in the millennials time, like 30 to 40 years ago, it would be way easier for him to go through the climb. But for a Gen Z in today's world, it is way tougher for him to climb through the stairs of like starting his own thing from absolute scratch till the point where he wants, right? So you see, like for this specific fact, millennials also need to understand, the Gen Z actually need to log in in order for them to succeed. And I believe this is entire thing for today's video. We will meet you tomorrow.